The awards keep coming for the St. Louis Cardinals, who got a Gold Glove winner, a Silver Slugger Award winner, and now one member of the team has been named to the All-Rookie team.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And welcome to Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Way to go, everybody. Good team effort. Everybody. Good job. Thank you to our everydayers for being here with us all along. And for those of you who are new to the show, welcome in. I hope you enjoy the content. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Today's episode, we got a number of things to dive into. We've got Cardinal Confessions, got a couple of things I want to hit upon that I've gotten questions, comments from you guys. We've got a change in the future of one former Cardinal first rounder. We got a wild update in that Cleveland Guardians gambling story. And the GM meetings start today in Las Vegas. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on that as Chaim Bloom has his first GM meeting as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. But today we're going to talk about the bullpen and specifically rookie reliever Matt Svanson, who was named to the MLB Pipeline All-Rookie team. Well done, Mr. Svanson. If you don't remember, he was acquired in a trade deadline deal with the Toronto Blue Jays, one that, you know, at the time, I don't think anybody thought was such a big deal, but this was 2023. They traded Paul DeJong to the Toronto Blue Jays, got Matt Svanson in return. Svanson that year went 6-1 with 11 saves and a 1.86 ERA with both organizations. Then in 2024, another solid season for him as he ended up going 4-3, 27 saves and 27 opportunities. 2.69 ERA at Double-A Springfield, went to the Arizona Fall League, and then after starting in Memphis, eventually got called up to the team in April. Went back and forth a few times before they finally kept him up. July 28th, he was called up for good. On July 6th, he gave up 3 runs against the Cubs over 2 2/3 innings. But after that, basically lights out. Basically lights out for Matt Svanson. Only gave up more than 1 run in just one of the next 24 appearances during the season. Over that span, he throws 38 2/3 innings. He allows just 4 runs on 20 hits. He strikes out 47 batters against 12 walks, had an ERA of 0.93, had a FIP of 2.13. Basically, the dude was outstanding, right? The guy was a freaking Terminator out there in the bullpen for the season. Ends up with a 1.94 ERA. He strikes out 68 hitters. That was 29.1% of the batters that he faced across 60 1/3 innings. Also had a sparkling 0.878 whip. The FIP at 2.72, the ERA plus a beautiful 213. Now, he didn't record any saves. Did not have any of those, but he was a key piece to the back end of this bullpen last year, especially after the trade deadline saw, Ryan Helsley and Phil Maton traded away. Daniel Guerrero of STLtoday.com got a chance to talk to Svanson, who told him this about the late innings appearances, that, he's always enjoyed that part of relieving. That's why he loved it so much, more than starting, because he said, I feel like every batter matters so much, just the overall leverage, whether there are guys on base, whether it's a 1-run game, late in the game, whatever it is, it kind of amps me up. But I also feel like I'm able to stay very controlled. I perform my best in those situations where I know I have to not be cute. So last year, he basically used 3 pitches. Really were at his disposal. He had the sinker, he had the sweeper, he had a cutter. According to Guerrero's article, Svanson wants to continue developing the sweeping slider, which we know has become a huge pitch in Major League Baseball. Hitters only batted 127 against that last year. Said that after that, pitch's movement became a little more unpredictable through the season's final stretch. So, he wants to continue to develop that. Also plans to toy with a 4-seam fastball, pitch that he only threw 13 times last season. Svanson was a big part of what was a very good bullpen for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have the makings of another strong bullpen coming up in 2026. What role Svanson will have has not yet been defined, but rest assured he's going to be expected to be a big part of what they do in 2026. And if you're wondering if the Cardinals have had, because we've given the Cardinals, at least I know I have, I should just speak for myself. I know I've given the Cardinals a lot of crap for not being able to develop players, right? It's draft, develop, and they haven't been able to grow their own young stars over the years. And the Cardinals, when I go back and look at this, they're really not strangers to having players on the MLB Pipeline all-rookie teams. In fact, they've had a member on the first or second team in each of the past 5 seasons. Masyn Winn made the squad in 2024. They write little blurbs about each guy after they make the team. So this is what they said about Masyn Winn. Finalist for the Rawlings Gold Glove at a premium position. Winn paced all rookie shortstops. Stops with a 3.6 F4, which is the Fangraphs WAR. Was third with 102 WRC plus. Finished the year with 15 home runs and 11 steals while playing elite level defense every day with 14 defensive runs saved. Those defensive skills obviously continued here in 2025 and even improved. He ends up winning the Gold Glove Award for the National League shortstop. The offense did dip a little bit, but hopefully after everything got cleaned up with the knee, which was the real issue for him, hopefully he'll bounce back in 2026 and become a key cog at the top of this lineup. At least that's where I envision him. I like him in the first or second spot of the order. I like that he's a guy that can do some damage at the top of the order. I would love to see him take more walks. I would love to see him run more. Got to get on base to do that. But that really kind of depends on Ali and injuries to the other guys on the team. And, of course, offseason deals that the team makes where Masyn Winn is going to be in this lineup in 2026. Jordan Walker made the second team. It was the second team for Jordan Walker in 2023. His blurb, this is kind of funny. Just 2 rookies in Cardinals history, age 21 or younger, have hit 16 homers in their first full big league seasons. Walker and Albert Pujols in 2001. Now, as we know, Jordan has not turned into Albert Pujols since this season, and some wonder if he'll ever live up to the expectations that the Cardinals and MLB Pipeline had for him when they had him rated as one of the best prospects in baseball. I still have my fingers crossed that perhaps something can get done where they can turn him around and make him that guy that we all hoped he was going to be when the Cardinals drafted him and as he came up through the system. So I haven't given up on him yet, but yes, the clock is ticking. Brendan Donovan was on it back in 2022 at second base. The blurb for him had Donovan's ability to rarely chase outside the zone and rarely whiff made him a stalwart in the Cardinals lineup, one who played 6 different positions, but saw the plurality of his starts at the Keystone. Donnie has excelled ever since. We love him. He's become a key member of this team and organization, but now the Cardinals are likely listening to trade offers for him. So we'll touch on that a little bit more in the Cardinal confessions. And then how about this one? Dylan Carlson was on it in 2021 after slashing 266, 343, and 437 in 149 games, 18 home runs, 79 runs, 65 ribbies. I mean, we really thought Dylan Carlson was going to be something. His blurb, Carlson got better as the year went on with an OPS of 847 in the second half to help him finish 5th among all rookies in total bases and extra base hits with 53. The stomach turning part about this particular year, not only did Dylan Carlson not pan out and has done virtually nothing since that particular season for any of the teams that he's been on, but the other members of the first team outfield that year, Randy Arozarena, who was with the Rays at the time, and Adolis Garcia with the Rangers. Cardinals had all 3 of them at one point. And then in 2020, they had one member on the second team, Kwang Yun Kim. Remember that guy? For those who don't remember, they signed him to that 2-year deal out of Korea. He was like 31 at the time, so he was an older rookie. That year, though, he was awesome. He was 2-0, 1.59 ERA, 34 innings pitched, 187 batting average against, had a 0.97 whip. So Cardinals were like, yeah, we stole one here. Second year in 2021, it wasn't even that bad. He appeared in 27 games, 21 starts, 7-7 record, 3.46 ERA, 80 Ks, 39 walks, and 106 2/3 innings. Ended up becoming a free agent following the season, went back to Korea, on a 4-year deal. So it was quick. It was like a little blip, and he was in, he was out, it was over. So, but a little trip down memory lane there. So hopefully, I mean, you look at these names, and a few of them have panned out. Hopefully Jordan Walker will continue and be okay moving forward. We hope he does not follow the path of Dylan Carlson, but congratulations to Matt Svanson. Well earned, and looking forward to seeing what he can do for the Cardinals in 2026 in the future. We're going to do Cardinal Confessions next and answer some of your questions. We're going to talk about Donnie. We're going to talk about the bullpen and more coming up on Locked On Cardinals. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Now, even if you miss the start of a game, it happens. We get busy in our lives, right? Or maybe you just want to ride the hot hand later in the game. FanDuel's got live bets, which take place on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks and a whole lot more. You can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It just makes everything more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action, especially when your team's making that late push. I've given you a number of different names to keep an eye on. You can always pick Nikolai Jokic. You can always go Victor Wembanyama. Those guys are awesome. But Tyrese Maxey, another huge week for Philadelphia. Scotty Barnes in Toronto has been a guy that I've been keeping an eye on. Josh Giddey, as I mentioned, from Chicago. Just a few of those guys that should be on your radar. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So take advantage of that. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you enjoy daily Cardinals content, you can follow our podcast on X at @LO_Cardinals. We're also on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Time for Cardinal Confessions, where we discuss your questions and comments about the team. I get these from all of our social media platforms, X, YouTube, TikTok mostly. So feel free to chime in those spots. And if you have questions, you have comments, by all means, let her rip. I had somebody in there the other day. It was like, I love your show, but man, you're long-winded. And I'm like, it's a 30-minute show. What do you want me to do? This is not like an hour long. Fast forward through it if that's what you got to do. Let's start with Brendan Donovan, though, because we've gotten a lot of comments and questions about him, about his future with the team. Do I think they're going to trade him? Do I think they're going to keep him? Let's just be honest. The fan in me wants to keep Brendan Donovan. Dead honest, I want to keep him. I don't want to get rid of him. I don't want to see a personality like Brendan Donovan and a talent like Brendan Donovan to walk out that door. I think he's the type of guy that you want to have in your clubhouse and that you want to lead a younger team. If there's a veteran that can lead by example, and I want my young guys following, it's Brendan Donovan. That's the kind of guy that I want. Guy that's not loaded with talent, that wasn't a first-round pick, who doesn't have great speed or doesn't have a lot of power, but has a certain set of tools that he works with and has just worked his tail off to get where he is today. And that's why he succeeded as a Major League Baseball player. Never was given the silver spoon or anything like that. He worked for this. At the same time, there's the business side. And the Cardinals are at a point where they have to make a decision to either trade him for a package of prospects, more likely, the young, controllable pitchers that the Cardinals are going to be looking for, or they could keep him to the deadline if they want to and see if his stock rises that way and see what the value is then. You could also extend him if you wanted to and keep him around under contract for a few more years, but his value is going to depreciate probably, right? Like the odds aren't great that it's going to go up any more than it is right now. He's not getting any younger, right? Kind of like Ryan Helsley's. When you trade them with less control years, the value goes down. And if somebody were to trade for Donnie now, they'd have him under control. So there's a lot of interest in him. The most recent one I saw Because bloggers are writing about different trades that they can make, which is great. I love going through it. But I saw the Seattle Mariners was one that was like, oh, Brendan Donovan would be such a great fit for Seattle. But I've seen stuff from the Angels and the A's and the Tigers and the Yankees and the Astros and the Royals. And I'm sure there's more of them out there. I don't read them all, but that have just been rumored to be interested in him. Making room for top prospect JJ Weatherholt, that's a priority. That's got to happen. He's going to have to play second or third base. I honestly don't care which one he does play. It's just I just want to see him in the lineup, and I want to see what he can do. Right now, you've got Donnie. You've still got Nolan Arenado, although we think that he's going to get moved at some point. And you've also got Nolan Gorman still playing those spots. So even if you remove Arenado from the equation, you've still got Donnie and Gorman at those two spots. Where does JJ fit in? Because you're going to want him here. So something's got to happen, right? Nada, we know that they're going to try and move again. Gorman's value is at its lowest point right now after another tough year. But Donnie was an all-star. Can play all of the positions, second, short, third, left, right. What do you need him to do? He can do it. He can play first base if you want him to. And he's not expensive yet. So if a package is proposed to Chaim Bloom and it knocks his socks off, I don't think he's going to be afraid to pull the trigger on a deal. I don't. Again, the fan in me says, keep them. These are the guys you want to build around and that you want in your clubhouse. The business side of me understands why you would move him. So I feel the same way about Sonny Gray, to be honest with you. I don't want to trade Sonny Gray. I'd rather have him anchoring my rotation, having the young guys learn from him on how to be a major league pitcher, a guy that's been in this league a super long time, has been very successful, doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, isn't some big 6'5", 235-pound guy, very small, does really good with the gifts that he's been given, but has had to learn how to become a major league pitcher and a better pitcher, has seen the ups and downs from being with the A's to go to the Yankees and see what it's like there, and then to come back to the Midwest and be with the Reds and then the Twins and then the Cardinals. And obviously we all know that Sonny Gray prepares as much as anybody. I want my young pitchers learning from somebody like that, showing them what preparation is needed, the dedication to the craft. I want these guys around because if he's dealt away, who's going to be that guy? You don't really have one of those dudes in the rotation right now. You'd have to find another way to find one. But, that again, fan side of me gets it and why I want to keep them. Business side of me also understands why these guys are available and on the trading block. Another question here. What do you think about this bullpen? What do you think it's going to look like? Who would you add if you could? All right. So I know you don't want to overspend on the bullpen. I totally get that. And as much as you would love to have a guy like an Edwin Diaz or a Robert Suarez at the back end of your bullpen as the closer, you don't have to go pay for that. There are other teams, the Dodgers, that are going to go pay for that. They're going to, because this past year, if there was one weakness for the Dodgers, what was it? It was their bullpen. It didn't work. So they're going to go pay for those guys. The Cardinals have been able to do the most with their bullpens over the last couple of years, so much that it's been a strength for the team, but they haven't had to overpay to get those results. Ryan Helsley obviously was very good in 2024, was reliever of the year in the National League. Regression kicked in last year, whether it was tipping pitches, bad pitch placement. I keep saying if he can learn to throw like a splitter or a fork ball or something like that to go with the slider and the fastball that he's got plenty of velo on, it's still a 100, 101. Like, that's not the issue. It's just another out pitch other than just a slider. I feel like that would benefit him a lot. But things didn't go well with the Mets last year. They didn't use him in the proper role. So I could see a reunion with Helsley or even a Phil Maton. And the Cardinals would certainly, if that reunion happened, that would make a lot of sense. They're very familiar with these guys. They were very comfortable here. They liked it here. But if I had to go with some new faces and new blood, I'd certainly be interested in Devin Williams. I know it was rough for him with the Yankees last year. Maybe some home cooking could do him some good, perhaps. Obviously, you're not trying to overpay for certain guys, and I still think there's an amount of money that goes with Devin Williams' name that is probably going to be too expensive for the Cardinals. But there's Pete Fairbanks, formerly of the Rays, had a very successful season with them. Seems to be a really good guy. I've been reading stories about him and his family and stuff like that. So Fairbanks makes a lot of sense. Luke Weaver, we've talked about already. It was very good early on with the Yankees last year. Was impressed with the way he kind of resurrected his career as a reliever for New York. Finnegan has been an unspectacular but steady closer that probably won't be super expensive. There might be teams with better chances at winning that he might want to go to instead. I think that's going to be part of the thing that hurts the Cardinals is guys who want to win. They understand where the Cardinals are. It's a reclamation thing going on right now. I would also love to see another lefty out there in the bullpen with JoJo instead of John King. No offense to John King, but I could use an upgrade. Sean Newcomb, Gregory Soto. I know he's wild, but he's got some nasty stuff. St. Louis native Danny Colomb, Taylor Rogers. These are some lefties that are out there, some of the recognizable names on the market right now. So I'd love to see them bring something like that in. But if Kyle Leahy is going to be in your rotation, if he earns that spot, you still have JoJo, Svanson, Riley O'Brien, John King, Gordon Graceffo, Ryan Fernandez, Andre Granillo. You can add one or two guys either through free agency, maybe a prospect like Tink Hence becomes a piece of the puzzle. The whole starting thing has not worked out for him. Can't stay healthy. Maybe if he's a bullpen guy, maybe that works for him. I don't know. But there's a lot of options out there, and the Cardinals have been a pretty good spot for bullpen arms to go to in recent years. So I'm optimistic that they'll be able to put together another strong pen in 2026. And I think Ali Marmol does a really good job with how he runs his bullpen. He's certainly gotten better over the years, and I would expect that to continue into 2026. Again, thank you for the questions and the comments. Keep them coming in. We're going to be doing Cardinal Confessions almost daily throughout this offseason because unless there's a ton of content coming in, we got to find things to talk about. So you guys being a part of the show, very important to me. So keep them coming in. Things have changed for Zach Thompson. If you didn't hear the news, we'll talk about that. Plus, I want to talk about this gambling thing with the Guardians I shouldn't say with the Guardians, but pitchers who were on the Guardians. We'll talk about that as we wrap things up on Locked On Cardinals. NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium, surrounded by fans, cheering on your team, but getting tickets can be a hassle, right? Queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout. Very frustrating stuff. It's why I use Game Time for all my sports, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast. It's easy. It's backed by the Game Time guarantee, which means you always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time, which is always important too. And you get it at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. Monday Night Football tonight in Green Bay. My Packers hosting the reigning champion Eagles. I pulled up Game Time just out of curiosity. I don't live in Green Bay, so it's not like it's something I can just go to, on a whim. But I just was curious. Pulled it up, couple of taps, boop, boop, boop. Amazing deals all over the place. Tickets for less than $200, which you're probably saying, oh my gosh, $200. Understand that this is a primetime game between two of the best teams in the NFL, and it's at Lambeau. They're going to be really expensive, and you're finding tickets, I'm telling you, lower bowl for less than $200, dude. It's awesome. The app makes it super simple. You can see the exact view from your seat. It's faster, cheaper, less stressful than any other way you can buy tickets. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On MLB, hosted by my guy Sully, who brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball throughout the offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So, change of plans here. Former first-round pick Zach Thompson who originally was thought that he was released into free agency and that his time with the Cardinals was done. Apparently, that was not the case. Derek Gould from STLtoday.com reports that Zach Thompson will not become a minor league free agent, remaining now in the Cardinals organization. The team learned due to nuance of MLB rules related to him spending the entire year on the MLB IL. He is not a minor league free agent after clearing outright waivers, as stated. Former first rounder will be placed on Clase AAA Memphis's roster. So perhaps there's some hope after all. Clearly, he needs to get healthy first and foremost, but no longer a free agent, will remain with the organization. So that's good news. The door isn't completely closed on Zach Thompson as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Maybe something works out. Maybe he can become that lefty reliever in the bullpen that I feel like they could use. The other thing that was big, huge story over this weekend, Guardians pitchers Emmanuel, Clase, and Luis L. Ortiz indicted by prosecutors in Brooklyn on charges related to an alleged scheme to rig bets on pitches thrown in MLB games. Jeff Passan reports that Ortiz was arrested on Sunday morning in Boston, will appear in court today. According to prosecutors, Clase was not in custody last time I checked. In the indictment that Clase arranged with a bettor as early as 2023 to throw specific pitches for balls so the gambler could place prop bets and profit. Ortiz, prosecutors said, joined the scheme in June of 25, and between the two, gamblers won at least $450,000 wagering on their pitches, while Clase and Ortiz were giving kickbacks for their participation. Now, I've seen the money fluctuate between how much it was, but it appears that it was only minimal, like a couple of $1,000s. It wasn't like huge money they were winning, which, makes this seem really silly, especially in Clase's case, because, he was worth a lot of money. But Clase and Ortiz each could face up to 20 years in prison for wire fraud conspiracy, 20 years for honest services wire fraud conspiracy, 20 years for money laundering conspiracy, and 5 years for conspiracy to influence sporting events by bribery, according to prosecutors. Wow. Passan also listed a few instances, like I said, dating back to 23, but the one that relates to us here at Locked On Cardinals was on June 27th of 2025, this past season. Ortiz agreed to throw the first pitch of the third inning for a ball in exchange for $7,000. According to the indictment, bank security footage captured Clase withdrawing $50,000 in cash, of which he gave $15,000 to one of the bettors who was in Cleveland that day to wager on the pitch. According to prosecutors, the bettors placed $18,000 on the pitch, which was far outside the strike zone. His opponent that day, our St. Louis Cardinals. That was the day that Sonny Gray had his best game of the season, tossing a 9-inning complete game, one-hit shutout. The team went on to win 5-0. Pedro Pajes actually hit a home run to lead off the third inning after the first couple of balls, which led to a 3-run inning against Ortiz, who actually didn't pitch that bad outside that inning, ended up throwing 7 innings that day. There are moments in life where you can take the right path and you can take the easy path. These guys chose poorly and could end up in prison for it. As Tony Stark once told Loki in the Avengers, not a great plan. Not a great plan. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. You can help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow throughout the community. We would much appreciate that if you haven't done that already. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Go Pack, go!